Good morning. This is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Briefing for Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. Going prescribed fires are shown here in the pink dots. We have a number of them planned or ongoing in Utah and along the Sierra front. And we've also had a couple of wildfires in the past day here in Utah as well. Precipitation for the past 7 and 14 days is shown here on this image. On the right, we have the past 7 days, and this is mostly precipitation from late last week that came into Idaho and parts of Utah. The percent of normal for the last 14 days still showing very dry conditions across the southern Great Basin, but we do see the swath of above normal precipitation over southern Idaho and northern Nevada and northern Utah, and then some drier than normal conditions over the central Idaho mountains. Let's look at snow. Snow depth is shown here on the right or on the left. Again, this is just the inches of snow that we're experiencing today. Pretty decent totals over central Idaho and into western Wyoming, but definitely decreasing the further south you go. Here on the right is a snow depth departure from normal, so showing where we are relative to normal, what's the departure in terms of inches. And we can see the areas that are shaded in blue have above normal snow depth, so inches of snow, and the warmer shades are below normal inches of snow. So we do have some of these warmer colors in Utah are going to be between 30 and 40 inches below what we normally should have on this date. Even western Wyoming is showing some lower values than what they would normally be expecting this time of year. The current snowpack, another metric to look at where our snow sits for the time of year, is showing those values closer to normal across Idaho in that 80th percentile or so, and even a little bit higher over western Wyoming in the 90th. And then values decrease as you go further south into northern Utah. And the southern Great Basin, again, is going to be pretty poor, below the 40th percentile for the time of year. The Sierra Front is holding on to some snow, especially on the southern Sierra Front there. This is the time of year where we generally start to see our snow melting off, or our overall snowpack starting to decrease generally. Our satellite image this morning is showing high pressure off the Southern California coast and an atmospheric river to the north. This will be bringing in some decent precipitation to mainly the central Idaho mountains and western Wyoming over the coming days, but conditions further south will remain dry. Again, for today, that atmospheric river really starting to get going today into tomorrow, bringing some precipitation to the central Idaho mountains. Ventilation rates are pretty good across much of the area today, with some winds associated with that strong westerly flow. Again, the winds today picking up over Idaho, Wyoming, and along the northern Nevada border. Even some downslope winds in eastern Utah should pick up today. Mixing heights are going to be on the higher side across much of the area as well. Precipitation for today will be found over the central Idaho mountains and moving into western Wyoming. Maximum temperatures are on the warmer side. We'll be increasing our temperatures for the next couple of days across the area, with highs in Utah and Nevada in the 50s and 60s. Tomorrow, more of the same as that atmospheric river continues to bring some precipitation to the central Idaho mountains into western Wyoming, heavy wet snow up there, and then continued warm and dry conditions further south. Ventilation rates are pretty decent tomorrow. We do see quite an increase in winds tomorrow across Idaho, northern Nevada, and across much of Utah as well. Some of these gusts could be in these browns up to 40, 45, 50 miles an hour. So definitely a strong wind day tomorrow across the northern areas. Mixing heights are also pretty high tomorrow. Precipitation is expected once again over the central Idaho mountains and into western Wyoming on Thursday, and those temperatures continue to climb on Thursday with highs in the mid to upper 70s in western Wyoming and western Nevada, and mid to upper 60s elsewhere. On Friday, could still see some precipitation hanging on over Idaho and Wyoming. Ventilation rates are still pretty good area-wide. Still continue to see dry conditions across Utah and Nevada. The winds are still going to be pretty strong on Friday across much of Idaho, Wyoming, again, northern Nevada and northeast Utah, and mixing heights are still on the higher side. So a good week for dispersion for sure. Precipitation again on Friday, central Idaho mountains, western Wyoming. Minimum relative humidities on Friday are shown here. We're really kind of seeing those higher RHs across the north with the precipitation, and then some pretty low values over the low elevations of Nevada and into Utah. So single digit RHs across southern Nevada and the low elevations of Utah as well. Again, the 3-day precip is shown here, so a pretty good precip event moving into the central Idaho Mountains and western Wyoming. So we should see some of those snowpack values coming up. Good storm for mid-March here. Saturday, we could see some decrease in the precipitation, but we'll continue to see that kind of westerly to northwesterly flow. Ventilation rate's still good. On Sunday, a low moves into the northern plains, causing the flow to become a bit more northerly for maybe some cooler temperatures filtering further south into the central and southern Great Basin. And we could see some precipitation moving into the northern Utah mountains on Sunday. And then as we head into the first of next week, the ridge really starts to strengthen across the western U.S., bringing some pretty warm temperatures into the area. That's Monday and Tuesday. Our ventilation rates will begin to decrease with that ridge moving overhead. By Tuesday, we could see highs in the low 80s in Nevada and into the 70s across much of Utah. So definitely the warmest air we've seen so far this year, and much warmer than normal for the time of year. The clearing index for Utah for the next couple of days shows some pretty decent values as we expect those gusty winds to continue for the work week. Precipitation for day 6 and 7, again, just showing a little bit of precip coming into just the northern areas as the ridge starts to build into the area. And then the whole 7 days, the total here really focusing on those central Idaho mountains and western Wyoming. Maybe a little bit of precip coming into northern Utah like on Sunday. And then the 7-day snowfall total shows some decent amounts coming with the day-over-day precipitation expected over in Idaho and Wyoming. We could see 24 to 28, maybe 30 inches in some of these darker maroons and into the oranges. So a decent snowmaking pattern for the next few days across the north. As we head into the middle of March, the third week of March here, however, we're going into a extended warm and dry period across much of the Great Basin. Some very hot temperatures for our neighbors to the south. That concludes today's briefing. Please check back on Friday for the latest updates.